Welcome to M Squared TechCast.
Hi there, it's Matt Roush.
And Mike Brennan.
And we're back with another segment of the M Squared TechCast. And we have with us today someone I've known for nigh on to 10 years, I think.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah. And she is a healthcare entrepreneur, Grace Hsia. And she came out of the University of Michigan with an idea. And that idea has turned into a company. So let's talk about it a little bit. It's called Warmilu. So talk about sort of the genesis of this product. Where'd this come from?
Yes, and thank you for having me. Thank you, Mike and Matt. So it all started almost 9-10 years ago now, where we learned as material science engineers at the University of Michigan that over 1 million infants die from hypothermia and other preventable causes of death in resource-scarce settings. And our team thought, we'd been doing research in polymer and phase change chemistry and thought to ourselves, there's got to be a way to safely provide warmth, especially. Because in these resource-scarce countries, they don't have incubators, or if they do, they might not always work reliably because the electricity may go out frequently in some of the countries that are resource-scarce. So we're talking about like Kenya, India, and other countries that are considered bottom of the pyramid.
Right.
So we went in there, talked to about 50 doctors and nurses, and then from there started prototyping. And now, fast forward, we cleared clinical trials, got a U.S. patent on our warming technology, and we're now warming about 8,000 infants in 33 hospitals born to 12 countries.
Oh, great.
One of the questions I've had that I've asked people, including Kate, is how does it work without electricity? Is it a chemical reaction?
So it is not a chemical reaction. It's actually a phase change. So here's one of our little mini packs that I brought to the studio.
Okay.
And what happens is that normal materials, I'll give you a quick 101, like that Mountain Dew can. If you put it in a heat source like an oven, it'll melt into a liquid. And the moment you take it out, it's going to immediately begin resolidifying, right? It can't store and hold on to heat energy. Sodium acetate trihydrate, if you put it into a oven or a pot of boiling water, it'll liquefy, but then it stays stuck in that liquid state until you click this disc here. So you can see I just generated for you instant warmth.
Oh, yeah.
That pack was originally room temperature.
You want to warm your hands.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Whoa.
Yes.
This is a high-tech hand warmer.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. So, and our core innovation, because this technology, to be honest, it's been around for about 60, 70 years in some shape or form.
Is it roughly the same thing as a hand warmer, or is it slightly different?
Correct.
It is the same
It
thing.
is roughly the same, but the difference is by in our research as a group of material science engineers, we realized that by adding essentially a thermal buffer. So initially we started with a hard wax. It was a very uncomfortable infant mattress that you could actually extend the time for heat generation. So for example, a normal warming pack this size might only stay warm for 45 minutes or to an hour and a half. Our pack stays warm for 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
And then in the blanket, it stays warm for 5 to 8 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a two-piece operation? The blanket comes with the packet, as it were?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. And we've been selling them directly to non-governmental organizations and ministries of health, as well as other nonprofits like Rotary Club, who are very action driven and have projects overseas.
Now, a source tells me, and I can't reveal that source, that you're working with or talking to Doctors Without Borders. Is that right?
That's right.
See, good source, huh?
Good source.
I don't know where I heard that. I can't divulge my sources. So.
We're working with them now. So it's been a long-term relationship that we've been building. And as of last year, we presented and we published our first clinical abstract after presenting to them out in Stockholm, Sweden.
Yeah.
So from there, we do this handoff and we pass to them just a small group of donated blankets and packs. But now this January, we just got our first purchase order from Doctors Without Borders.
Oh,
nice.
Yes.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about your journey. I mean, you're a materials science engineer by background. So tell me about the journey from that to entrepreneur and the business skills you had to pick up along the way, and how did you do that?
I had a lot of mentorship. So first things was, and actually Fred Brown, who's going to be speaking later, he's one of our
famous
directors.
Fred Brown, by the
Okay.
way.
That's
Yes.
right.
Perhaps notorious, but we're not sure.
Yes,
So,
and that was the first step, was finding someone who had that expertise in medical device development, because initially I was an engineer.
Right.
And so we knew how to talk to doctors and build our clinical understanding of what was happening in these hospitals, but then to really take something and commercialize it, that's where Fred came in. So then we got some help from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation,
Okay,
as
good.
well as not just the University
They're
of
our
Michigan.
friends as well.
They
Yes.
are. We love
We-
Jeff
we-
Jeff
Us
Mason.
too.
And
We would love
yes,
for
all
them to be
good
an
people,
advertiser,
yeah.
by the way,
Yes,
in
that's
case you're listening.
right. If you want any introductions, because they went and they actually helped us learn how to not just export but also visit. So they paid for one of our first trips ever out to India as well as Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And then later on, so I realized
Forging
that,
those personal relationships, right? That's
right.
really important.
That's right. And
Yep.
being able to recognize when you've kind of hit the limits to your own knowledge and
Yeah.
you're like, I need to find the experts who can work with us and just point us in the right direction. And so then after that, I went to business school, also at the University of Michigan, completed my master's of entrepreneurship, and that helped to build some of the critical gaps in my business, legal, and financial framework. And then later, so we fundraised and got about $265,000 in funding from the Hillman Accelerator, a minority and women led startup accelerator, as well as Procter & Gamble.
Okay.
So they became an indirect funder and have been mentoring us on the corporate engineering side for about a year and a half now. And then after that, so we've built a team, still women and minority led, and we make all of our own infant warming packs and blankets right here in the state of Michigan.
In Ann Arbor, if I recall, right?
That's
and how
correct.
many folks do you have working for you now, or
We
with
have-
you?
Yes, anywhere from, depending on the time of year, 3 to 6, and then we have a handful of contractors as well as contracted cutting and sewing groups whom we work with.
Now,
Okay.
what kind of skills have you been looking for in these employees?
This is
Yes.
where you could do the what I'm looking for shameless plug thing.
Yeah,
Right.
right, yeah.
Yes,
If you have these skills, please call
Yeah.
Grace.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
All Grace.
yes. So call us, especially if you have experiences in. We're looking for more folks who are on the operational side of cutting and sewing scale up. So not just low volumes. We've been around 250 units per year, but now with Doctors Without Borders with 70 project sites and Rotary Club with 33,000, a standard order is going to be more like 10x what we've been experienced to before.
Yeah,
So if
we'll
you-
have to ask Fred about that scale-up project.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Well,
Is
and I don't know. I haven't heard about what they're up to lately, but I know that the state of Michigan was pursuing a fashion industry incubator in the old Knapp's department store building in
oh, really? I
downtown
didn't know about
Lansing.
that one.
And they might be able to help you with the cutting and sewing and fabric and textile industry part of this, maybe. So yeah, there's some textile industry involved too, right? Because you need
That's right.
specialized fabrics for this.
That's right.
Yeah.
We use all advanced technical fabrics to
Okay.
provide infant warming incubators.
So it's like you're right on the edge of that old hockey stick kind of growth thingy, which is real tricky. So how are you going to scale up quickly? I mean, I'm sure you're exploring that, right?
Yes. So part of what we've been doing, so in addition to receiving grants previously and receiving external pre-seed funding, we're actually self-financing our growth with now profitable sales.
Hey.
So that has helped
Wow.
a great
What
deal.
a lovely word.
What a
profitable.
luxury.
Yes,
Yeah.
profitable. And, that was something we had to learn, too. Initially, we went in thinking, oh, maybe this is a nonprofit sort of thing. So that was a real lesson.
I
was,
try not to be a nonprofit.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes
Right.
it just happens,
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
too much of journalism is
Yes,
nonprofit
right,
these days,
yeah.
isn't it?
That's right. And scalable growth, you can't have 10%, 15% margins. You have to aim for something higher.
Oh, yeah.
Especially to make long-term impact. We want to serve the Doctors Without Borders, to save the children's of the world.
And that
Sure.
means making
Empath.
tens of thousands of these
That's
Or
things.
maybe
right.
more, hundreds of thousands.
Or
actually.
hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we've been doing now is reaching out to more established medical device distributors. So we've been building a relationship with Halyard Health as well as via Global Health. So our hope is if anyone in the audience...
strategic partner.
Exactly. More strategic partnerships, especially on the distribution side, because we don't want to reinvent that customer wheel. We know people have these established customer bases, and we want to work with those folks.
And if they can hear from someone they trust that, hey, I've got this cool new product, that's a lot more chance they'll look at it than if you just walk in the door, right?
That's right. That's right. And we can't go and pitch every single UNICEF, USAID, along the way.
So do you have angel investors or any? I know you've got grants and things like that, but do you have angel investors?
Yes. So huge shout out to the University of Michigan DeSci Accelerator, as well as we receive funding from Hillman Accelerator.
Okay.
And finally, and we can talk about this a different day, but WeWork funded us way back when. It was in a Detroit Creator Awards pitch competition.
Okay.
Yes. So we learned about, what it takes to get through.
The somewhat maligned, but
They didn't
did
get
something
through it, but doesn't mean you can't. Right?
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
And it taught us a lot about, how do you find the right partners and not just to chase logos, find the right people.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you're
Chase
really on the
logos,
edge
I like
of
that.
moving into venture capital now, which then you get into the real serious money, 5, 10, 15, $20 million kind of ranges.
Yes.
And if you're going to be doing tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, that may be where you're headed, right?
Yes, and I can't disclose more than that, but
Okay, who would we tell, right?
That's right.
Just us kids here. Right.
Right, because, especially right now, I'm actually a faculty member at the University of Michigan teaching entrepreneurial management and leadership, and to pursue that high growth, venture capital is one of the ways to really pursue high and quick growth, especially when you're already capturing large amounts of market share.
Yeah.
This can help solidify that market leadership and your strong positioning in that place.
Well, I'm sure Fred knows a lot. I work with the MVCA real closely, so I know a lot of venture capitalists. So
Yes.
just got to find the right fit. They all they have different sweet spots. Some like to do one, others like to do another thing.
That's
so you got to
right.
find a medical device, I guess, is what you really have, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Especially since we cleared the FDA, we're really focused on pursuing, any of the VC funds, or even we've noticed that in Michigan, there's been the rise of these Michigan venture or angel groups. So
Right.
there are these
A lot of
angel
them.
investor groups, right? I feel like every week we get a new news story about it. Like Grand Rapids has a group.
Well, there's 12 of them around the state.
Yeah, I was
right
going to say
now.
Right.
Traverse City now.
Yeah, they're all
Traverse
over the
City.
place.
Yeah, right.
There's only
Right.
4 or 5 that are really, really active, but Michigan Angels is actually the biggest, and they're in Ann Arbor. Skip Sims runs that.
Yes.
So,
So we'll touch base with them.
yeah.
For sure.
So we got about 2 minutes, Dave? Okay, so
All right,
this
so
is
this is your shameless plug
shameless
time now.
plug. So,
Please let people know how they can reach you and get more information about Warmilu.
Yes, well, and so first off, we love any sort of inquiries about, can I use this for other applications for
Sure.
warmth, not just baby warming. So
Right.
if there's anyone out there in your audience who wants to look at for pain management, we've for all of the 9 years we've been around wanted to be applied towards pain management in our non-electric warming packs. So we've this past year started working with a handful of chiropractor groups. We're also looking for, if you want to check out more, go to our website at www.warmilu.com and just check out, we always post really great content and stories of our customers who love working with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram as well for all of
Okay.
the millennials out there.
You got them all hit. So yeah, right.
That's
Okay.
right. And finally, we've always been looking, I mentioned the cutting and sewing, but we're trying to figure out how to build the radio frequency welding industry, especially here in the Midwest. So we've been doing custom projects, and we love some of those and supporting others as they've been trying to do radio frequency welding with new polymers. And we recently did a U.S. Air Force project
So
last
it's a
year.
plastics industry play too.
That's right.
Okay.
We're at our core, we're a material science engineering company that is doing good and trying to make sure that we save babies along the way.
Okay.
okay.
Saving babies.
Noble
a good
causes.
Thing. Okay.
Doing good,
All
yes.
right.
So-
Thanks so much, Grace, for
Thank
being with us.
you.
And it's Warmilu. That's WARMILU.com.
Yep.
Traditional four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.